it's true. We'll go over that in another segment. You guys know what time it is. It's not Game of Thrones time. It's not Lego Batman time. It's not Marvel
Wait, it's not?
Jedi Spider-Man crossover time. It's not. It
is.
Black
Andrew
Tower
forgot his fan time,
podcast
though.
Oh my God, Andrew. This fucking guy. It's Black Tower podcast time. Welcome to another edition of the finest Black Tower podcast that has ever existed on the face of this plane of existence and several others. Boom!
Boom. Who could ask for a better intro?
Fucking needs more. Not me. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.
Wait, what? No, wait. Shoot.
It's time for me to pour this up, and while I taint myself, I need you to sit back, relax, get ready to receive your weekly dose of taint.
And go listen to the dulcet tones of Kate Reading and Michael Kramer.
Oh, that's right.
Indeed.
Tonight's Frosty Mug shout-out is Kate Reading, Michael Kramer, who, by the way, are two of the sweetest people you'll ever want to meet.
They're pretty dope. But anyway,
they're very good people.
So behave yourselves in an orderly fashion while you receive this weekly dose of taint. From all of us here, I am Josh. I am the Sorrow von Mahale.
I'm Andrew, and I'm apparently the Bajan Mahale.
I am Daniel, and my hair is a fucking mess. And I'm also the Amin Khan Mahale.
And we are the boys of the Black Tower. The boys of the Black Tower again.
Oh, fuck. I just realized I gotta buy another mug.
And we're going to do...
Oh, no. Say it isn't so.
Uh-oh. Who do you got to buy?
Critter.
Oh, dude. I got a Stein
The only mug I don't have.
Critter.
Nice.
I got to show this up. I know it's like Critter shout-out time, but I did manage to snag a wheel and chill
Ooh.
Stein.
Nice.
It's
So that's
beautiful.
Critter, Taviran Tavern, and
Wine Spring Inn.
Wine Spring Inn. That's right. Yeah. So that's even like a trip shout out.
Yep.
Nice
So
job.
you want to know a fun fact? I got one of
I
the
always
fancy
want
like
to know.
holographic shirts from them,
Oh, yeah?
and
Yeah.
Taviran Tavern was kind enough to bring it to WatCon.
Uh-huh.
I also left it in the WatCon book bag that I had stashed by the registration area the entire weekend when I was sick. So
No.
yeah.
Well, shit. Did nobody pick that up?
Nobody has mentioned anything about it. There was no name of mine on it. So
Someone
Yeah.
picked it up.
I mean, yeah, someone wound up with a shirt, or somebody will wind up with a shirt. I don't know.
Yeah,
But-
who knows?
It is
But-
what it is. Such is life. The wheel weaves as the wheel wills, and the wheel wills you to go to blacktowerpod.com. That's where all of our stuff is.
Wow! That was an
Oh, my
impressive segue, sir.
Every once in a while, I have a
Round
good
and
one for
round
all the
and
like
round it
really
goes.
shitty, cheesy ones I do.
And where it weaves, nobody knows. Especially
Aw,
not Moraine Damodred.
Yeah. And if you go to
How
Black
the fucking spell tower? Holy hell.
TOW.
Oh, I'm checking to make sure a hyperlink takes you to what I think it takes you to, and it doesn't because it's not updated yet.
No,
Darn it.
it'll take you there, but
Yeah,
not
it's
what
still
we want you to
there,
see.
but it's not updated yet.
Not
But
yet.
if you would like a sneak peek into the coming Gathering Madness, if you go to blacktowerpod.com/TGM, that is Tango Golf Mike, or The Gathering Madness, you can see the page we had for last year with the flyer for last year and the summary of events, which will at some point within the next weeks be replaced by all the information
one.
for the 2022. I believe Josh had, I don't know why, like speech just stopped for me. Like, it's just like, the English from the brain to the mouth just immediately stopped for whatever fucking reason.
It's
Josh,
how
I think you
excited
have more for us on the Gathering
I
Madness
do,
2022.
and for those of you who are in the live Patreon chat on Discord, feast your eyes upon the first official announcement flyer of the Gathering Madness. We're gonna
If
have
you're
the
watching
fourth
live on YouTube,
annual-
it's well, not live on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, it's up now.
Yeah, it's up on the website.
Sorry, as I talk over Josh.
Black Tower
Sorry.
Pod /TGM, blacktowerpod.com/TGM, Tango Golf Mike, The Gathering Madness. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be October 15th and 16th. We're going to have panels. We're going to have special guests. We're going to have the things you know and love. We're going to have our annual Taste the Taint Challenge. If you've not been challenged yet in the Taste the Taint Challenge, your time is coming. We will be having our Watt Tales event. Watt Tales, woo! Where we take submissions from you, our listeners, for your Wheel of Time themed cocktails, shots, or mocktails, or other beverages. We request, please, that you make them like actual cocktails. I'm not going to be drinking no Wheel of Time themed cement mixer. Okay, take that right back to where you got it from.
And please,
I'll try a
make
Wheel
them.
of Time cement mixer.
There you go, Daniel.
I'm not saying we won't try it or drink it, but you're not going to get any bonus points for creativity.
Yeah,
that is
definitely.
correct.
Which
That's true.
you're probably fine with me because I'm really bad at recognizing mixed drinks because I just drink and I claim to know things. The ones you have to worry about are Josh and Daniel, who are very good at catching just redos or rebrandings of existing cocktails. And then deciding, depending on how intoxicated they may or may not be, whether they're going to call you on it or not.
Wait,
So-
this is just a Mai Tai. Why is this?
Why do they call it a Mai 2-1? It's weird.
Ooh,
Right? Why did they call it a Min Tai? I don't understand.
Because it's
Now,
right.
if you take, and it is an existing cocktail, but you put a twist on it and you acknowledge that in the write-up for the inspiration for the drink, then you know you're covered.
Or
You know,
could be like Jim
cite
from
your
Fantasy
sources.
for the Ages and just
We prefer
try to
MLA
get us as
format.
fucked up as possible.
I mean,
Yeah, no, let's not do that. Let's not do that, Jim.
Jim
go
has
ahead.
already submitted a recipe. Tree
Yes.
has already submitted a recipe. Two of our previous Watt Tail champions.
Did Tree?
So
correct. Yeah.
yes, competition is.
I only
stiff
see
this
one
year.
response. What the hell?
What the hell?
Or did
What
she
the
send it
hell?
like somewhere else?
She probably sent it somewhere else. She said
Did she email it?
Tree. Are you making a liar out of me right now?
I don't know though, because she actually asked the question if she could submit more than one. So she might not have actually submitted one yet. She just already has one
Maybe she was just saying
planned.
she is going to.
That's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
So, and that's something else that as we get closer, we'll be tweeting out and posting out the link to the submission form. You can probably expect to start seeing that somewhere around beginning to mid-September, if I had to guess right now. Don't hold me to it.
Yes, there will be more details to come.
If not already. I know I posted it somewhere, but I was drunk and don't remember, so there's that.
Blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol.
I mean, of things to do when you're drunk, not remembering where you posted a link to allow people to submit drinks for you to drink at a later date is pretty low on the negative bar.
Correct.
Or
I agree
pretty
with that.
high. I don't know.
I mean, you know, whatever. But anyway, blacktowerpod.com doesn't just have Gathering Madness information.
What?
It's got
What else does
all-
it have, Josh?
I'm so glad you asked. It's got all things Black Tower Podcast. It's got all our social media platforms. It's got the YouTube. It's got the link for YouTube's, which you need to go follow us on YouTube so you can see my body language right now. Okay? In the words of Freddie Mercury, body language. You know what I'm saying? And it's also got our merch stores. If you ever walk around and you see someone with a sweet flicker shirt, or a sweet The Wheel Weaves bra shirt, or a sweet shot glasser shirt that says Two Rivers Sniper, and you decide you need one for yourself,
Which you should.
merch at the BTP, blacktowerpod.com.
Pretty dope.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's it really. That's what we're talking about this week, because Gathering Madness is coming up. Gathering Madness is always a fun time. We're gonna do our Taste of Taint. We're gonna do Watt Tales. We're also gonna do we're probably gonna have some watch parties, some live watch parties.
I'll let Josh freehand tattoo my taint hole. So that'll be fun.
We're gonna
tune in live for that on the only taints.
Gotta pay extra for that action. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So if you're gonna be in the LA area or would like to be in the LA area, fly in,
like a good
drive
excuse.
in, get a hotel, come hang out with us. It's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be a fun time, guaranteed. Or you can
your money back.
Life is not fair.
I was gonna say or your money back because we don't charge.
Yeah, exactly. We will give 100% of the money that we took from you back.
Yeah. From you directly for the Gathering Madness.
Yes.
At the Gathering Madness.
Exactly.
That did not directly benefit you in any way. We will give it all back.
Yep.
That being said, if you are not a local to the LA area, please make sure we will post the area we're going to be in as soon as everything is locked down and finalized here soon. You please go ahead and try to book your flights or save up your gas money as soon as possible. I know we're giving you about a month and a half-ish notice here. Look at your hotels. If you got a trusted friend that you can travel with and want to share hotels with them, by all means, whatever it takes to reasonably and safely attend, do that. Do bring masks just in case. We never know what requirements may change or happen there. And it being California, I know California has a tendency to be a little stricter on the masking than where I live in the United States. So I don't. How is the masking around LA? Daniel, you live around there, kind of.
I haven't been there for a while, but I'm pretty sure that the answer is there are places asking people to wear masks, but it is not a requirement pretty much anywhere anymore.
Okay. Well, bring one just in case, because of course that could change. Yes. And the closer proximity you are in with people, the more likelihood that you will catch something, not just the old world event, because I don't know if YouTube still doesn't like that word or not. But just bring one just in case. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, kind of deal. Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
So with all that said and done, we're going to get into tonight's topic, I believe. I don't think we have anything else to plug at this moment, right?
Oh, wait. I do. Give me just a second. I'll be back.
He's got to plug in his phone. Or no, wait. He's got to plug in his laptop.
If he comes back with a butt plug, I swear.
That's the only
thing. I will be equally impressed and disappointed. It depends on what kind of butt plug it is.
I never thought I'd get this far.
Oh. No. Did I post? Did I post a link in Patreon? I can go ahead and do that.
There you go.
Why are you walking stiff? What's going on here?
Oh boy! All right, that's in there. That's in there, real deep. Oh, all right, guys.
Well, Andrew,
we're all having a good time.
Well, at least I was right.
All right. Well, the discussion tonight will be very heavy on spoilers. So you know what time it is. It is time to ensure that you're all protected from spoilers. If you still wish to be here and you've not read the full series, that's fine. That's great. Just know that you're gonna, you're gonna get spoiled.
Oh, I thought I was playing a spoiler.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, well, you basically just did. Okay, here we go.
Oh, go. That one's gonna be funnier anyway.
Welcome to the Black Tower. This is your spoiler countdown. If you have not read the complete works of Robert Jordan, The Wheel of Time, books 1 to 14, and also New Spring, big bad book of white arts, and the companion.
As I accidentally tell it to stop the sounds.
Damn it!
Well, I was trying to turn it up because it looks really quiet.
Welcome to the Black Tower.
I'll fix it in
This
post.
is your
I'll talk
spoiler
over it right now
content.
because this doesn't actually exist in post-production.
If you have not read the complete
This is what you
works
pay
of
for,
Robert Jordan,
patrons.
The Wheel of Time, books 1 to 14, and
Like a
also
professional.
New Spring, big bad book of white arts, and the companion, you
I have a
are
hard
at
time
risk
finding
of
the right
being
spot.
spoiled. Spoilers come with side effects. These side effects may include headache, nausea, vomiting, death, dizziness, vaginal or penile eruptions and ejaculations, dysentery, cardiac arrhythmia, mild heart explosions, varicose veins, darkened stool, darkened souls, more vomiting, arthritis, hemorrhoids or diabetes, virginity, mild discomfort, vampirism or werewolfism, gender inequality for the whole planet, spontaneous dental hydroplosion, sugar highs, even more vomiting, or maybe just a mild rash. If you cannot deal with these side effects, please leave now. For fear of spoilers, you have been warned.
Malkiri Rob, you, sir.
The original.
You're a
I
gem.
should have waited till
sir.
closer to the end and then just accidentally stopped it again. Yeah.
Just so that we
So
had to
for-
listen to it a third time.
Yeah. So for all of you that are patrons, if you have an idea for a spoiler warning, please feel free to send it to us. Just
right.
record your voice. You don't have to include any video unless you want to. And send it to us at blackhourpod@gmail.com or hit us up on Discord, preferably in our Discord, or you can DM myself or Josh or Daniel. Like, hey, I have a spoiler warning, and we'll probably ask you to email it anyway because Discord doesn't like big files. But I like big files, and I cannot lie. These other
I've
applications
got a big
can't
file
deny.
in me right now.
Wait,
what?
What?
When a
Hey.
file walks in with gigabit size, that's about as much as I got for you there. Anyway,
And a megabit security spike. I get sprung.
and AES encryption, I get strong. Anyway, so fucking nerdy, so nerdy. But that's what we do here. We do nerdy things.
Like a Weird Al song waiting to be made.
Yeah, you can record a spoiler warning and do like more shoddy and make fun of us on recording.
To our ears.
To our ear holes.
And
And
I
our
have a pretty good
faces.
I have a pretty good proclivity for not listening or not letting Josh or Daniel, almost at Josh or Andrew, like what the fuck, not letting Josh or Daniel listen to the new spoiler warnings before I play them, so it's always a surprise for them. And if you want to make fun of me and not let me hear it, then just get it to Josh or Daniel, and I'm sure they can figure out a way to play it at least so I'm surprised during recording, and then I can edit it in later. Anyway.
Yep.
Speaking of people that like to do a whole bunch of surprises, which they like to call pranks, especially on the Village Green, we're talking about somebody today. And
I'm actually
considering,
super excited for this one.
considering
His
you're the only
name
person
is
on the
Scamp.
podcast right now with a hat, even though it's a trucker hat, who are we talking about, my hatted friend Josh?
Oh, we are talking about the son of battles, the prince of ravens, the Two
Oh, not
Rivers
Sans.
original prank star, Mr. Matrim Cauthon.
Commonly as Matt with one T. I don't know why that aggravates me every time I see it. If you're talking about the Wheel of Time and you say Matt with two T's, I assume you're talking about Matt Hatch from the Dusty Wheel. If you say Matt with one
Innkeeper
T, I
Hatch.
assume it's Matt Cauthon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Matrim's only spelled with one T. It's not Matt
This is
Few. which is
Correct.
2 T's, because we all needed that in our lives.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's
I love how the
true.
Phantom describes his build: long-limbed and wiry, like Slender Man.
Kinda.
Wiry. No,
Oh,
so
He's-
okay, so Matt's like one of my favorite taglines with when it comes to Matt is
This
I
one?
tell people all the time that when I was a young man
Warthog.
reading The Wheel of Time, my broody, moody teenage years, I was all about Rand al'Thor, man. I was like, that dude, he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, and like my moody self was like, he's just the best. Now that I'm like more grown up, I won't say the A word, but now that I'm more grown up, I identify
More of an
less with
asshole?
Rand and more with Matt, where I'm just like, look, leave me alone. I just want to go have a drink and chill and maybe get a little flirty, okay? Like, I don't have this desire to save the world anymore. Just don't, man. Leave
See,
me alone.
okay, that's funny, because I also had the same experience in some ways, where I used to think that Rand was all 100% where it was at, but I apparently skipped over the Matt years and went straight into the, okay, it's time to get revenge on everyone and die portion, because Lan is now my
Now your
go-to
boy.
character. So can I have some Matt years? Because I'd like a few of those before I go into.
Let's see if it's an age thing, because I'm
get there, my
still
son.
very much in the camp of Rand is still my favorite character.
Oh, he's still up
and
there for me.
I'm just waiting on my villainous redemption arc where I
Oh,
get
yeah,
there you
revenge
go.
on everybody.
Don't get me wrong. I do love me some Rand. Like, I'm just saying, as far as there's a character whom I identify with most, you know, Rand is just like, oh, I've got to save the world. And I'm like, in all fairness, that is what his character must do. So, and Perrin's like, I just want to go back home. And I don't want to be in charge of anything. Which, I'm not going to lie, I identify with that a lot. The big difference being Matt's like, it doesn't matter. I just want to go have a drink and flirt with a barmaid and not do anything responsible.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm like Rand, but if instead of having like a random angry outburst, he just had random fits of drinking a couple beers.
He had random. I hurt myself in its confusion.
I also like Matt. For better or worse, I also like that Matt has. I think we get some of the best POVs from Matt, some of the best perspective writing from Matt.
You like history, you love Matt.
Yeah.
You get so much history from Matt.
So much history.
He's also the first one.
A PhD level history.
Multiple PhD levels.
I was about to say with several specialties.
Right.
With all the specialties.
Every specialty.
But
the original inventor of the Charleston. With
Matt, he is, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's the first one from the Emmons Field 5 who realizes, yeah, we're not going home. Like, you guys know, the second we crossed, with the possible exception of Egwene, because she left specifically because she wanted to go on an adventure with everybody, but then learned quickly that she could channel. And I don't know if I think Matt had figured it out, but I don't know that he had vocalized it yet.
Sure.
He might have been the first one that actually kind of wanted, or may have wanted to go home, to realize that they weren't going home. I don't think Egwene, once she left, ever wanted to go back.
Yep. I think that's the crux. Is that Matt has the pang of, I don't know if I actually want to do this anymore, but I don't have a choice anymore. We're doing this now and we can't go back. Yeah, I'm actually going to do a really quick recap of everything that Matt does in the Wheel of Time. You ready for this? It's going to be super quick. Matt catches a badger so that he can let it out on the green. Then he gets roped into this horrible quest that he never wanted to be on with a few of his friends who he never wanted to travel this long with, and ended up going ahead and hanging out with a broody, sick motherfucker named Rand for a while because he found out he could channel. And then he did a lot of trying to get away from things and being pulled back in, very akin to Al Pacino in The Godfather. And then he goes across the mountains to this other place, goes through a doorway, talks to some people, gets hanged, now remembers all of this different stuff, comes back, does a lot more, wishing he could be just getting a drink and not getting involved, and yet gets involved at every turn regardless. Runs around after the girls for a while, meets an empress, decides this is the one he's supposed to marry, gets married to her, yells at Rand for being a dickbag in front of her, saves a woman from a tower, makes a friend of the hero of the horn, adopts a kid, and then fights the last battle as the greatest general who ever lived. I think that's
I
just
would
Matt.
99.9% agree with that assessment.
I mean, you missed a few key things, but
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
accept
sure I
it.
didn't miss anything.
Not only
I'm pretty
did he hang out
wait,
with a sick motherfucker, but he was a sick motherfucker.
that is true. He was. Because he
And-
had a dagger.
I would say he didn't decide he wanted to marry somebody. It was already decided for him. He just acknowledged that he's like, yeah, I kind of agree with this.
Fair.
You
So
also
little
left
column A,
out-
little column B, but it's actually
That's
a Venn
fair.
diagram, and we're both in the middle.
Yeah.
You also
basically.
left out
I will
him
also
stomping
say
on a duck sauce packet.
And he made friends with several heroes of the horn.
he actually that's true because Birgitta and him are like tight as fuck.
Oh, I hope not for long. I mean,
But yeah,
I'm gonna
I actually
stop.
also left out one other thing, and that is not only does he beat up a duck sauce packet with a stick, he also beats up the duck sauce packet's brother with a stick, and beheads some dickhead Aiel.
I hope somebody that's never listened to us just hears that he beat up a duck sauce packet with a stick, and the duck sauce packet's brother, half brother, with a stick.
Yes, half brother.
Oh wait, hold on. He is the
also his
mastermind
best
behind a
friend's
brand new form of
half-brother.
warfare.
Oh, that's true.
Well, several
Sort of.
newish forms, but a
He
new
thinks
tool
about
of
the
warfare.
Yeah, I was going to say, he thinks about the idea. The other person is actually the one who puts it together. And then another person comes along and goes, yeah, but what if we could launch those anywhere we wanted? And that's like the...
God, what
So-
are they? What are they? What are they?
There's
hold
an
on. Hold
interesting.
on,
go
hold
ahead.
on. Hold on. I gotta figure out. I forgot what the MOS is. What? Because it's gonna be.
You can do it.
Is it Field 13? Whatever. All you 13 Bravos out there in the Army, you owe your origins to Matt Cauthon and the Dragons. So, those of you that don't know, apparently 13
Nice.
Bravo is that's a canon crew member, but Field 13 is the MOS for U.S. Army artillery. So, they fired the big guns like the howitzers. And then the Air Force came along and said, I like that. I'm going to take that and put it in an airplane.
Right?
And it works.
Yep.
And it's
No.
fucking terrifying. It's literally
So-
called the
and
Spectre gunship. Come on, man.
And then
And
somebody else in the
then-
Air Force came along and said, what if we put that at the end of a video game controller? And
Yep.
I wasn't talking about the
You're
engine,
not
I was talking about
wrong.
the C-130 Hercules. But which is insane. Like, so all right, random military facts. So the C-130 gunship that used to be almost exclusively used by special operations is like a hey, we're about to die, save us, and quickly became a reliable form of close air support for the Air Force to support the other branches.
Okay.
It has 100. It has one of the 155 howitzers in the aircraft,
Okay.
and the howitzer itself is so strong that when fired, the aircraft itself moves laterally in the air.
Yep.
So they have to adjust for the lateral push of firing a literal artillery cannon out of the side of an aircraft.
Yep.
It is,
which is why
insane.
they often fly in a circle and strafe their target.
Yeah, because they have three main armaments. They have a minigun, a slightly larger cannon minigun, or what is the second gun?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
But
anyway,
it can
Matt Cauthon.
It can put a bullet in every square inch of a football field in like under a minute. It's insane. If you want a really good visual,
Matt would love one of these.
If you want a really good visual, actually, the Transformers movie did did justice. Only drawback would be how close it was. No, these things are like you don't even see them, and even when you watch like combat videos of them like hitting buildings and things like that, you know you'll hear the target confirmed, go attack, whatever their attack word is. And then you'll hear a tick, 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 tick. And then it'll wait for like 3 or 4 full solid seconds. And then the building will just light up. So they're very, very, very high up in the sky, hitting things with stupid, scary accuracy.
So for the people that are going, Andrew, you're wrong. It's not a 155. Yeah. Okay. I corrected myself now. It's a 105 millimeter artillery cannon, a 25 millimeter Gatling gun, and a 40 millimeter cannon as well. So, which is to say that I think this will be Matt's perfect playground because you get to move very fast, you get to attack from the flank, and you make things go boom.
Yes. So, I think,
Thank you, Lockheed Martin.
Start from right. First in flight, baby. Wait, what? Hey,
pretty sure it was the Wright brothers, but all right.
Whatever. I don't care what you have to say about that. I realize I said that that wasn't what I was going for. It was like they had like the first female pilots at Lockheed, I think. First female test pilots. Anyway.
No, did you not know that it was actually Wilbur Lockheed Wright and Orville
Boeing Martin,
right?
Yeah. Orville Boeing Martin. So Matt is the young prankster. He's the young layabout in the village. He loves to play tricks. Our first introduction into Matt is Rand and Tam have come into town for Beltane. They've got all the apple brandy casks on the cart, and Tam's like, let's unload this. And Matt's like, psst, Rand. And Rand's like, what the hell? And
Look
he's like,
my sack.
Right here. Look what I got. I got a badger. We're going to let it go on the green.
He doesn't have it with him.
He thinks he's super clever. And he's like, we got to do this now before we get caught or else we'll be put to work. Just as Tam comes out and says, young Matrim, thank you for helping Rand with his chores. You know, parents.
Is Tam part O'Dear now?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why does Tam sound like the original voice for Darth
Vader? Welcome to this episode of Andrew and Daniel shit on Josh, who's just trying to do his best.
What are you doing?
No.
My best. I'm doing my best.
So it's in this first chapter of Eye of the World, first and second chapters, that we learned that like the play, like unlike the TV show, which is like a very like holy shit origin for Matt, and the books are more like he's a rapscallion origin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like the books are more like this is appropriate for children. And the TV show is more like you go back and watch the kids shows and you're like, oh, there's sexual innuendos everywhere.
Yeah.
Not exactly that comparison, but close enough.
Yeah.
He's just mischievous because they talk about how like he covered dogs in flour and tried to convince the town that they were
It was a
hellhounds or
ghost or
ghost
something,
dogs
yeah.
or something like that. Which this sounds like quintessential like down home Southern United States of America jokes.
Oh,
Like,
it's
I've
absolutely
heard
the
Jerry
kind of
Clower
thing
make
that Robert Jordan would have engaged in as a small boy growing up in
it's one of those
the
things that
Bible Belt.
it's one of the two jokes in the series that makes me like want to ask Harriet if she knows if Robert Jordan grew up or was a fan of Jerry Clower, because the guy like falling down through the tree and landing in the pond is reminiscent of a Jerry Clower joke. I know I've mentioned that before in an earlier episode.
Yeah.
The dousing a dog in flour and saying that it's a ghost is reminiscent of a style of Jerry Clower jokes. I think I might have discovered something here, and there's no way to confirm or deny it, so I'm going to say I did. Anyway.
You did. So let it be written. So let it be done.
Yep.
I got you.
So let me show my taintle to the sun.
Anyway.
But yeah, like Matt is one of those characters that is one of the most fiercely defended characters by the fandom.
Yes.
So I would say from my experience that it seems like Matt and Nynaeve are the top two most fiercely defended and loved characters in the fandom, with Egwene coming in a very close second, because I'm tying Nynaeve and Matt.
Do you know what's interesting about that?
And then a lot of people throw Rand to the wayside, it seems like.
And what's interesting about that is I think you're right, but I actually know someone who stopped reading The Wheel of Time at like book 2 because they hate Matt.
Well, no, that's actually what I was going to say. I was going to say that I feel like Nynaeve and Matt are actually the two characters who are the most controversial, which is one of the reasons that they're so highly defended, is that the people who defend them staunchly. And the people who dislike them vehemently. And or at least did at one point, because it's a long series. And so I think a lot of people's views on those two characters changed throughout the book series. But it's definitely, I think that those two characters really on sort of opposite sides of the spectrum in some ways are actually the most controversial characters, because they're the ones that get the most screen time and have the most things that are problematic to some people for some reasons. And they have a lot of those reasons that they're problematic to some people for those things. And the people who think that they're fine and think that they're good and think that those reasons are actually, that those bugs are actually features, are actually feel very intensely about that. And so you really have these two characters that are very well loved and very well not loved. And that's why the people who love them so much defend them so strongly at the people who don't like them as much.
Well, and I think Matt is one of the most pragmatic characters, even from the beginning. He's very, very roguish, very, very pranky and things like that. But the second shit gets fucky, he's one of the few who recognizes, okay, shit's fucky. Like we have to, I have to play for my supper. I have to this, I have to that. I think he's someone who can recognize their situation more quickly than the others, which is why he was one of the first who realized, guys, we're never going home. Like, you need to put that out of your minds right now.
I
don't know if I'd say rogue. I'd say like an early multi-classer, to be honest with you. I would say a little bit of rogue, a little bit of bard, a little bit of ranger. So somebody that's like they're kind of good in a bunch of different areas, but they're not really that great. Talking like books 1 through like maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, in the first couple of books, really the standout moments you get from Matt is when they're running from Trollocs, or when they're charging Trollocs rather, and they're all screaming.
He's yelling Old Tongue.
He's screaming Karayan Kaldazar, Karayan Elisande, Karayan Manethrin. And Perrin and Rand are like, yeah, Manethrin. Yeah, Manethrin. And
we just heard
Matt's
that
like,
story. Oh. Excellent.
yeah, right.
Wait, we just watched that movie.
5 minutes ago, we didn't know what a Manethrin was.
Oh,
but
I'll do you one better. Why is Manethrin?
Why is Manethrin? But Matt is we get very early instances of him having the old blood.
Yes.
He picks up a dagger, right? Which a lot of people want to give him hate. I'm going to defend him on this one because he's a country bumpkin from a backwoods
Because you're
town.
a thief too.
Yeah, Moraine says.
That was so well timed.
Don't take any gifts. Don't accept any gifts. And they're in a treasure room, and this dude starts blowing up like a balloon, and he sees a dagger, and he's like, and grabs the dagger to in defense of himself. Nah, I'm giving him some credit.
That's why they should have went to the chocolate factory. Willy Wonka had a much better handle on that situation.
Correct.
There you go. New crossover. Emmons Field 5 in the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Who survives? Who dies?
Loompa, doompa dee doo. I've got another wolf brother for you.
Okay. I just dealt with the trauma of playing the Wheel of Fortune game and getting the bankruptcy meme played 6 fucking times. All right. Check out the Will Reads if you haven't already. There's a shout out for the Will Reads.
Indeed.
Oh,
I'm actually gonna disagree with you here, Josh. I know that we're supposed to agree all the time, always, and that's right. Really what our podcast is about.
From the script.
What we do behind the scenes, this is scripted. Don't worry, I'll edit this out in post.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Don't let everybody know our secrets, man.
I actually think
get access to the script on our Patreon.
I actually think that Matt is not very pragmatic up until book 4.
Ooh, okay.
I actually think that he is almost exclusively out for himself, and I am also extricating the time that he has the dagger because that doesn't really count because that is Matt, but it's Matt on horrible drugs.
We lose him effectively. As soon as he picks up a dagger, effectively we lose him as a character.
I wouldn't agree with that either. We actually get a few times where he's good to Rand and doing good stuff until the dagger really gets hold of him later. On the ship, he's mostly fine. For example,
okay. As soon as he picks up the dagger, his character begins to degrade.
Yes, that is correct.
The sickness from Shadar Logoth.
Yes,
that is correct. The dagger of the Galwin
100%. But interestingly, I actually think that in book 1 pre-Shadar Logoth and in book 1 post Moraine healing, and then definitely in book 2 post White Tower healing, I actually still find Matt to be a particularly selfish character. Now, granted, I don't think he's the most selfish character, but it definitely feels like he is looking out for number 1 more often than not. And even when the chips are down, he would much rather go ahead and run. He would much rather go ahead and get out of this situation. He would much rather go ahead and do whatever. And for some reason, whether you want it to be plot or Ta'Viren or otherwise, he's able to do that. It's actually not, in my experience, until he gets his memories restored that suddenly he has this almost innate push into heroics not for heroic sake, but just because he can't stop himself from doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And does a lot of very heroic stuff. But I would actually say that it's about book 4 and the trip to Ruidian that really starts turning him into I cannot turn my back on anyone who needs my help. I will pick up all of these strays. I will do what is right for the sake of it being right, rather than almost always being willing and able to go, not my problem. Not my problem. And I will not be here when this goes down because that's not my problem and I'm out.
Oh, I'm actually going to be middle ground between both of you.
How dare you?
Yeah, this is kind of weird. Normally I think it's like Josh and I or Daniel and I on extremes. I don't know how often I'm middle ground actually. Maybe I'm more middle ground than I realized. Anyway, we learned early on and later on in the books that Matt was, prior to his insane luck, was always relatively lucky. So
Correct.
I think in the earlier books, and like books 1 and 2 and 3, I think we're seeing. I'm sorry, I just saw heresy in the chat. Actually, no, they're right. Never mind. Anyway,
Yeah,
they're right. No,
It's
Xena
this
is
symbol,
better than Hercules
not a
in
this
the show.
symbol.
Yeah. I'm blind, but so I think that's what we're seeing in some of the earlier books. Is that like I agree that Matt is very much still out for himself, predominantly. He's not like that. Doesn't mean that he's not cognizant of the needs of his friends. That he doesn't care about what happens to his friends. But ultimately, it's I need to make sure that I'm taken care of, predominantly, because he does still owe his friends some degree of loyalty. But
And he does.
I think it's a lot of his inherent luck that allows him to make the decisions he makes that winds up benefiting whatever group he's with at the time. I think these are the early hints of like this guy is naturally lucky. There may be something to that. There may not. And then,
Yeah.
And actually, that's one thing that I really want, or that I really sort of lean into, is Matt in Tarvalon and Matt in Tyr. I really look at, especially, and this is just an example, this is not the only time that this kind of thing happens, but both times he actually really kind of runs around dicing, knowing that he will win more often than not, knowing that he will be able to get the money that he needs, and not really caring about anybody else at the table, not really caring about anything that's going on except for his singular mission that he has at the time. Now, again, I'm not saying that he needs to care about every single person on the planet to be pragmatic. That's not true. And if you're sitting down at a dice game in a tavern, you're bound to go ahead and hit a string of bad luck because somebody else is on a lucky streak. I get that, and I have no problem with that, and I'm on board. But it is sort of Matt seems to tune almost everything around him out, and the impact of what he's doing, and all of this different stuff for the singular goal of, I need this right now. I am going to get this right now, and then I'm going to be gone from this place. And once I am gone from this place, that is all that matters to me, because I, right now, am the only thing that matters to me. And of course, there are a number of times.
What I mean by pragmatic.
Well, yeah, that by definition means he is pragmatic.
He's looking for efficacy in reaching his goals. He doesn't care about frivolity, or if it doesn't have anything to do with what he needs to accomplish, he doesn't worry about it. He moves on.
So I think the disagreement in how Matt behaves isn't about his pragmatism. It's more about his scope and focus of what needs to happen, being selfish versus serving potentially a greater need.
Sorry, you're 100% correct. I apologize. For some reason, I actually had pragmatic being also a sort of like, what is the word that then means like looking out for other people?
Selfless.
There's another word that
sacrifice.
sounds a lot like pragmatic that I just mixed that up with. I don't know what it is. I apologize. If you know it in the Patreon, go ahead and pop it in if you can help me out.
Maybe you'll
If
win a
not,
prize.
It's really not that important, but
Altruistic?
no, I don't know what it is. It's whatever. We'll go ahead and but yes, no, you are correct that he is pragmatic. I do want to make the distinction that I made still, because I do think it's an interesting part of Matt's character about his selfishness versus his
Philanthropy?
selflessness
Philanthropic.
and whatnot.
Smack. Good one.
But I do want to go ahead, but I do still think that's an important part of his character from before he gets the memories and then after, that he actually turns into a much different character in a lot of ways.
Now, I will 100% agree. But the part of that I think is fascinating is how much sense of self he retains after having literally thousands of years of soldiers and soldiering crowding his mind.
Right.
And
to be fair, we do know that more often than not, he is actually just Matt. And then he'll like walk up to a map and suddenly be like, I can tell you all of the ways that you should go ahead and do this. Well, and like, he's mostly Matt. And then he'll be riding around and he'll be like, you know what we should do for scouts? We should do this. But like, I guess I'm less surprised that he has as much of a sense of self, because it's really like 95% Matt and then like 5% other people's memories.
How much of what he does is a stubborn selfishness where it's, no, I swear I'm doing this for me because it benefits me. But then we read his, internal monologue and it's like, this is the best thing for the situation, period, not just me.
He either argues with
in later parts where he's with the band, he either internalizes the needs of the band onto himself, thus making the needs of the band his own personal needs. So the byproduct is that it still acts in the interest of the group.
Well, so and again, that is actually a certain amount of empathy that people who are
unintentional altruism. Is that what Matt does?
No, because I think it actually does take I think it really does takes a certain kind of person, and not a person who's actually selfish, to actually make the needs of the group their own. And so literally by taking that on as needs of his own, he is just making the needs of the group pragmatic. Now that we've learned a new vocab word. And
so he's just pragmatizing the group's needs?
He just pragmatizes the group's need, which again is
he
actually
just the boyfriend?
a type of, kind of.
He's behaving pragmatistically.
I mean, we all know that him and Talmanes are actually supposed to end up together. They're in a
threesome. When you pragmatistically.
It's absolutely Matt, Talmanes, and Tuon. And it's just a thruple.
I think the best way, I think we have a
Tuon is the third wheel.
Correct.
And Talmanes is the third leg.
Hey,
actually, no. You know what? I take that back. It's actually just that they're in a relationship, and Matt is just the pivot point.
I think that Matt can be summed up in one scene from the movie Willow. The character Mad Mardigan, and they're heading over, and the brownies are like, "We're going to go this way," and Willow's like, "I'm just following them. We've got to find Finn Razel." And he's like, "So where are you guys going then?" And the brownies are like, "This way," and he goes, "Oh no, that's the way I was going. Dang it! Fine, you can follow me." because Matt has this like.
You're glad you know what you're
image that he
talking
wants
about.
to keep. Did you
Yeah,
guys not?
me too.
Come on,
I've seen the movie, but it's just I don't understand what
that too
you're
obscure
going
a
for.
reference?
No, I don't know what you're going
There's just
for
a
here
lot of
because I
movies
would
I
say
haven't watched.
Here,
I would
well,
actually
you
say
need to
that
get
Matt
on
is
that,
the
sir.
opposite of what you
I
just said
Don't
because he'll
see
be
any
like,
reason why I need to watch Willow.
no. And here's my example.
"Oh,
At
I
the Siege of
disagree. You should
Carrion,
watch Willow." But also,
you should absolutely watch Willow.
Should watch it is one thing. Reason why I need to watch it is another.
fair.
My time is precious, my friends.
When
It is.
he's leaving the
Next
Siege
time
of
you go to
Carrion,
watch a dinosaur YouTube video, just put on Willow instead.
there you go.
A fair point.
When
I love
Matt
you.
goes to leave at the
You're not
Siege of
wrong.
Carrion, he's like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I'm done. I'm gone. Goodbye. I don't want to do this no more. I'm leaving. Okay. Some people are like, oh, let's go find some Aiel. And he goes, yeah, there's Aiel right over that ridge. And if you guys go over there, you're going to die. I can't just let you die because I'm a big softy. So he comes over and he goes, hey, guys, if we go this way and not that way over the ridge, we will find glory and victory. And they're like, let's follow this guy. He seems to know what he's talking about. He ends up like gaining all these followers, vast majority of the time avoiding conflict, unable to avoid conflict in numerous other scenarios, but in so doing is able to position himself to defend themselves in the best possible way. And so people are like, oh, he knows what he's doing. And he's like, yeah, trying to save your dumb lives.
This sounds like Ferris Bueller.
So actually, I think we actually just have a fundamentally different reading of that scene, and that's okay. I'm certainly saying that, but when I read it, I actually am reading
I don't
it.
know about you guys, but I read it in English fundamentally. All right.
I read it in the old tongue. What language are we speaking, Horn Sounder? But I read it
But
as
you would like to sound
they
similar to
actually ended up not going ahead and avoiding very much at all. Because Matt, I swear that from the second he left Kyrian, was trying to avoid everything and avoiding exactly nothing. And so literally he was like, he goes over to that group of people and he's like, hey guys, if we go over there, we'll get glory. And then they're like, great, that sounds wonderful. And then he goes, also, we should put out some scouts that way because that's how you get glory. And they go, great, glory is wonderful. And he goes, awesome. And then they come back and they're like, hey, that way is Aiel. And he's like, well, shit, now I guess we're going into glory. So then they go over and they fight the Aiel. And then he's like, cool, avoid everything else as much as possible. Hey guys, let's go back that way because that way probably has more Aiel. And then they're like, all right, cool. At first, they're like, you're a friend of the Dragon Reborn, so you're probably going to lead us to glory. And then he's like, yeah, sure, great, friend of the Dragon Reborn. And then they go that way and they find more Aiel. And then he's like, okay, how about that way? And then they go that way and they find more Aiel. And then they go that way. And like, it's just over and over and over again. And they just keep on picking up more people. And he avoids nothing. In fact, I think Matt ends up fighting more, trying to avoid everything than if he had just gone ahead and said, hey guys, we're going this way, and then we're going to stick going this way forever.
We're going this way.
Yeah, exactly.
So, would you guys like a fun fact about the Battle of Carrion and Matt?
Always want fun facts. Always.
Have you ever heard of a guy by the name Sir Francis Marion?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So this is common knowledge. Well, I grew up in South Carolina, so Sir Francis Marion is near and dear to the heart.
Excellent.
And the fact that when I was in the military,
haven't heard of him.
I am.
Okay.
Very, very briefly. So the unit or the base that I was at when I was in the military was our mascot and everything was the Swamp Foxes. So Sir Francis Marion became known as the Swamp Fox because during the American Revolution, he engaged in continuous, merciless, and highly effective guerrilla warfare against the British military around, I believe it was Snows Island, South Carolina. So he would literally like him and his forces would rush in from the swamp, destroy the shit out of British forces, and then disappear in the swamp. And they can never be tracked down. They can never be captured. And they never stopped. And so the British gave him the name Swamp Fox because he was as clever as a fox in the swamp. And of course, you know, at that time, the British still thought that you should line up line by line and shoot at each other to the face like gentlemen, aka morons. So I love French
Hey,
Marion.
if everybody's agreeing to that kind of warfare, they're actually not bad at it. It's just when nobody agrees to that it's really
actually they're just fiscally responsible. They're like, let's save money. So let's just stand in a line, and whoever has the most people wins.
Yeah.
But yeah, so every time I read the Battle of Kirian, and there's Matt running around being like, I don't want to fight, I don't want to fight. Fuck, another fight, and more people that need my help. Okay, I saved them. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. And there goes Josh back into the swamp, apparently.
He blue screen of death.
Oh, yeah. Oof. That's no bueno. But yeah, every time I read Matt in the Battle of Carrion, it makes me think of Sir Francis Marion.
Nice.
Which would make sense that maybe Robert Jordan pulled that because, you know, he lived in South Carolina as well. And that's a pretty big part of South Carolina heritage. It's probably like just above the old South Carolina senator that started beating people in Congress with his cane. So I don't know what kind of metric that sets for my home state, but
hey, man, whatever works.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, no, exactly. Whatever works.
I don't condone it, but it worked. So.
All right, so we'll go ahead and give Josh a little bit of time to jump back on here, and I will start with some final thoughts about Matt, because I think that we're going to be on these for a little while. So let's dive into him now. I think that Matt is definitely one of the most grown characters throughout the series. I actually really appreciate his character arc because he really does kind of start as a not forgettable character, but as a kind of non-character. Because in the very first book, he ends up turning into a dagger fiend. And then in the second book, he's kind of just like a husk. And then he starts running around and doing interesting things. And then he gets really interesting semi-fast. And then he just kind of gets better and better, or at least more fleshed out the further into the series that you go. And by the end, you're really running around with this character who seems to put himself out there for everyone. And as you said earlier, sort of really takes on this group of men who has decided to follow him, who he never wanted, but also doesn't want to see get hurt, doesn't want to see go to turn to banditry, go to, you know, have anything bad happen to them, and feels a responsibility towards them. He really does take all of their problems and make them his own, and does his absolute best to go ahead and give them a home, give them a family, give them a group, give them jobs, give them, you know, everything that they need to thrive in so many ways. And I think that it's interesting because in the books, we know that he really does actually have a pretty good family life. Now, I mean, it's a small town family life in a very rural part of the world life that he's not super happy with because he has great ambition. But at the same time, it's like not Francis a bad Marion. Life, right? But it's not a bad life in some ways. It's just one that he wants more out of. And in the show, it's interesting because I think that they decided that they actually wanted to lean into it even further by making his home life pretty bad. And so when you actually end up going to the Band of the Red Hand and you really have this thing, Matt now actually really has a family he never had. he really has a group of people that are close and people that he will look after fiercely, just like he does his sisters.
Well, they slightly replaced one of the tropes of the trouble characters, right? You have the abused character, Matt.
Yeah.
You have the broody, very focused character, Perrin, talking about the show, of course.
Yes.
And then you, instead of having the rich kid, you now have the self-sufficient kid, Rand.
Sure. Yeah. No, I like that.
It's not a teen
that's
drama.
A good way of
It's
describing
a young adult drama because
there
they're 20.
you go. But yeah, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the show does it. I really like how the books do it. And I think that it could actually come off even better in the show in some ways, given that they gave him further to grow, given that they gave him further to go from his original beginnings, even though I will absolutely admit that the fact that Abel Cauthon is not Tam Althor Light does annoy the crap out of me, because I really like Abel as a character in the books and really don't like him as a character in this show. But that's really neither here nor there. I like Matt. I did not like Matt very much in books 1 and 2, but he absolutely gets amazing later on. And the things that happen to him and that he comes back from are incredibly impressive, if nothing else. So those are my final thoughts. I like the guy, good character development, and I hope that they stick with that idea, even if they don't necessarily stick with all of the events in the show.
Yeah. Honestly, like I would say by and large, I agree with you. Though I don't recall a moment where I didn't like Matt. He was never my favorite, but I also never didn't like him. Though I went through spats where I was like, I'm kind of sick of Perrin. So I guess in a tier list, for me, it's like Rand, Matt, and Perrin. If we're looking at the three of them,
sure.
And even if we included like all of the MFL 5, it would probably be Rand, Matt, Nynaeve, Perrin, and Egwene. Not saying Egwene is the worst,
but she's the worst of the Emmonsfield 5
of that list. You know, the ones that resonate with me and how I read and interpret the story. Just kind of last on that list.
Sure.
Of Emmonsfielders. There's Matt just seems to fit that trope, or I don't even know how much of a trope it is, to be honest with you, of by the end, he's very much that hardened general, that war-forged general that everybody thinks is a hard ass, but in all reality, he really cares about his troops and his people. I might be the only one talking here. I wonder if my internet cut out. Who knows?
You did pause for me, but I thought it might have been my computer. So you might want to say that phrase again, just in case.
Pause for me. So we'll restart over. He very much by the end of the story comes off as that war-forged general who was a hard ass and a stickler for military discipline and order. But in reality, he does it not because you just need to listen to me, but because like I've been through this. This is the best thing to ensure most of you survive. And we see Matt transition from character sub-archetype to character sub-archetype a fair few times over the series.
Oh, yeah.
He goes from the mischievous scamp to the mischievous unwilling leader to the mischievous leader to the unwilling general who is still a little bit mischievous. Like he never completely loses
it
his
takes a
proclivity
back
for
seat.
mischief.
Yeah, it takes a back burner seat, but at the same time, it's always there, just waiting.
Yeah. And it also takes on a more utilitarian seat.
Truth.
He learns to kind of weaponize his mischievous mind which has been, let's say,
Literally.
kindly a quarter replaced by the memories of long dead generals and warfighters. And he comes out on the other side of many a traumatic events, events that would buckle many people, and he comes out of them with, with humor. I mean, like one of the most famous Matt quotes, besides Doviandus Tovis Seguin, is "alive, gloriously alive today." And it's a bit of a touch on, and I feel like Robert Jordan intended it to be a bit of a touch on that morbid sense of humor that is so prevalent in the military.
Oh yeah.
It's not that uncommon to meet like combat vets or people that are like, "Oh, how are you doing today?" "Oh, I haven't been shot in the head yet."
Right.
It's a morbid sense of humor that is
I just want to
twofold.
throw out there real quick, not to interrupt you too much, but I will say,
No, you're good.
I think that the whole phrase is actually kind of important there. I really love the whole quote, which is almost dead today, probably dead tomorrow, but alive, gloriously alive today.
I could not remember the entire quote, so thank you for that. That was actually really needed.
It's good. Yeah.
And
I love it.
But yeah, it's that same kind of like morbid hilarity to it. Just like Iris Bear is talking about in the live chat, that the Band of the Red Hands theme song becomes Dance with Jack of the Shadows. That's literally like it's their interpretation, their version, their era's version of dancing with death, of going off to die.
Oh yeah.
And if you ever listen, there was one that a couple months back, if not a year back, got really popular on TikTok. It was an Army cadence that a guy made a rap song out of, and it highlighted a cadence where it was basically like a guy left his home to join the army. His mom thought that he would surely die in war. There are 1,001 cadences that do this kind of thing. There are cadences that I remember singing in high school as a JROTC cadet, which is just playing Boy Scout version of the military as Josh comes in with an actual hat. Look at that.
I'm back.
That made the same kind of joke. I mean, there's all kinds of cadences about going off to war and facing these austere conditions and dying, and it's all said in like this kind of jokey sense because you have to desensitize yourselves. You can't go into war like Matt does over and over again, and like the band goes into over and over again, constantly being afraid of death. Because if you're constantly afraid of death, you won't do what you need to do for the person to your left and your right, and people will die.
Which
So
is a pretty
the best way to deal with death in war is to kind of make a joke of it, to make light of it. Because every person on the battlefield knows that at any second they could be the one. Their number could be up at any second. But you can't think about that. If you go into combat and you think, I'm about to die, you're going to freeze, you're going to fail, you're going to falter. And that doesn't mean that you die. It means that sometimes you and the person to your left and your right and your front and your back dies because you failed to do something. So you kind of gotta do this too. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just gonna say, so there's an old samurai proverb as well that says, when you wake up, immediately ponder the nature of your death. And there's different methods of doing it. Modern times,
get knocked down again.
Modern times, we've fostered.
I drink a whiskey
drink.
Humor, I drink a gin drink.
Gallows.
Drink a tequila drink,
as it has been stated in the chat.
Drink an arsenic drink.
It's. I don't think it's making light of it. Well, I mean, according to a particular definition, it is making light of it. But I think what the more important thing of it is to.
It's more like humility to me.
Sort of face the reality that this is a possibility in a small dose, right? So that you don't have to face that all at once. Because if you face it all at once, you're gonna freeze.
Rising's a small dose.
So. You're gonna get hurt, or someone next to you is gonna get hurt. But that's but Matt even makes this.
See, there was a good example
makes this
right then and there.
observation as well.
Josh is being dead serious about this. You can die in combat, and I'm making jokes about arsenic and Ryzen being a small dose. And Daniel's like, that is exactly how that phrase, that infamous quote from Matt, is treating death. It doesn't diminish the seriousness and the reality of people are going to fucking die. It is war. But Matt
how
goes,
do you
look,
make sure that everybody who can makes it out? And how do you make sure that everybody who does makes it out okay? And that's what Matt's
focus is on
over again.
And Matt's focus as a general of allowing the Band of the Red Hand to form and to march and sing Dance with the Jack of Shadows is both caution and playfulness. It's a cautionary tale. Any of us could die at any second. But because we know that any of us could die at any second, we also know that we need to all do what we have to do at every given second to minimize the people that could potentially pay for us failing to do our job. And it becomes a pseudo kind of reverse psychology of forcing people to put their best foot forward to get the best result. And it's one of the things, he definitely fought on the absolute wrong side of the war. I am not advocating for his side of the war at all. But it's one of the things that Stonewall Jackson became famous for in the American Civil War. Because he was noted for getting more out of his troops and artillery than almost any other unit in the Confederate States of America.
Well, and I definitely think that you can
these
respect.
Same tactics.
Yeah, I think that you can respect someone for what they did, even if it wasn't the best thing in the world. Like Stonewall Jackson thought that he was fighting on the wrong side.
Yeah, you can appreciate someone's acumen and still disagree with them and recognize that they did horrible things.
Yes. All right, Josh, your final thoughts. Go right now.
Final thoughts on Matt. Matt is one of the biggest characters in the Wheel of Time. And what I mean by that is he goes from small town boy. He does the same thing, right, with wardrobe changes that Rand does. He goes from small town, good stout, Two Rivers woolen to just a little bit of lace. He gets a taste, but he gets a taste of a good life. Let's see what it tastes like. Matt has the finest. And I'll die on this.
How many people can we piss off in one episode? Keep going.
Matt has the finest point of view perspective writing in the series. Bar none, hands down, I will die on this hill. And I think it is so good.
Weird hill to die on, but at least you're dead.
As the readers are convinced. His perspective is so strong, so certain, and so confident that we're convinced that he's seeing things as reality. He's not. Guys, Oliver is an adorable little shit. He's jealous that Oliver has got the ladies fawning all over him. So he makes comments about,
who do you think he learned it from, Josh?
So ugly.
There is a specific instance where he's not jealous. He's legitimately mad that women are leaving to go with Oliver and take him other places rather than staying.
Oliver's
he's legitimately mad.
Little shit. But you don't know that because Matt is so confident in his perspective.
I was talking about his episodes with Thailand where he was legitimately mad that the servants were leaving to spend time with Oliver. Which isn't Oliver's fault.
Also, can I just say, I actually have a strong feeling that Chell Vannon might not actually be fat. Just saying. Because if he's wrong about Oliver's being unattractive, he's probably equally as incorrect about Chell Vannon being a fat sack of suet.
Love it. So Matt also has
still your
callbacks to Nordic mythology. Like Odin, he sacrificed an eye to gain what he needed to win the last battle. Like Odin, he carries a spear that has mystical magical properties.
Mere bitch.
like
can
Odin,
represent.
his
I don't know
symbol
where that came
is
from.
he's symbolized with ravens. I mean,
That's what the Vikings did up and down the coast of Europe. They just chopped up with their necklace. Represent.
Come near, bitch. No, so Matt's one of the biggest characters. I gotta say, I really like Matt as a character as well. He shows a tremendous amount of growth, and yeah, it's good. And we could spend the next 48 hours talking about Matt easily.
You want to hear us talk more about Norse mythology and the Wheel of Time? There's an episode way back. I don't know the season. I don't know the number, but it's back there somewhere. I think it's called "We Don't Get Nice, We Get Norse."
If you want us to readdress that subject, leave a comment down below saying, "Wait a minute, I don't remember that." Talk about it more.
Oh, well, there goes Daniel now. Daniel's computer died.
The change is effective. Should we sign out before too much more of this happens? Or do we want to give Daniel a few minutes to come back?
Let's ask him if he wants to come back.
Come, my Daniel. Come, my Daniel.
My sugar, honey, baby. Oh, man.
Shit.
This isn't the worst technically challenged episode, though, so that's pretty lucky, I guess.
I also need to get pictures, so he does need to come back so I can get a picture or send him a selfie.
So for those of you that don't know,
which
should be everybody because we haven't talked about it, Josh is our new thumbnail artist. So if you have ideas, suggestions, reviews, reflections on the thumbnails, let Josh know because he's taking over the thumbnails because he does a lot better job than I, who used to make them in PowerPoint with clip art because I'm a lazy bitch and I'm not artistic. So. Okay, Daniel says go ahead and sign off for him because it's going to be a bit before he can even charge up to get back on.
Well, he'll have to send me a picture, but that's okay. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
I was like, what the fuck?
Thanks, everyone, for being here, for tuning in for another episode of the Black Tower Podcast. We thank you for your professional behavior whilst we dole out your weekly dose of taint. We thank you for your enjoyment of this episode, and we hope that as you leave here, you leave just a little bit more insane than you were when you first started. I got something shining right in my face. I don't know what it is.
It's your own reflection of how glorious and glamorous you are.
From all of us here at the Black Tower, I say to you with the utmost gratitude, I have been your Soroban Mahale, Josh.
And I have been your Blajan Mahale, Andrew. Thank you so much for coming out and listening or watching or both or whichever one it is you do. We definitely appreciate it, and we cannot thank you enough for it. And of course, our Amin Khan Mahale himself, who just left us just a few short moments ago to go wave the banner somewhere else where there's a charger for his laptop. Definitely thanks you for being here and listening. We have had a long podcast day, so we appreciate your understanding that at least he got his final thoughts out before he left.
It's true.
But
true.
Thank you all again. Let us know what you think about your favorite moments from Matt. Maybe what are your favorite lessons that you think from Matt? What are your favorite aspects and maybe the Norse mythology and other mythological impressions on Matt? I know we didn't really go as methodical through Matt as we do normally in Character Dives, but I kind of liked it a lot more than just going through a summary of a character, which you can read for yourself. But let us know in the comment section down below what you thought, and
make sure
if you don't
subscribe
have any thoughts, ask your friends
as well.
Yeah,
don't miss out on these videos.
Like, do all the stuff.
And
I'm not going to say buy YouTube Premium, but if you have YouTube Premium, definitely use it. You know, because you can listen to us without having to watch us.
I am Daniel, your Amin Khan Mahale, and we hope that wherever you are, you're having a wonderful time. And in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I tried to do the mustache twirl. I can't do it. as well as he
It
does.
did. Well, at least now I have a face to put to where he got that from, but I still don't know what movie it's from. Is it from the Truman Show?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, well, shit. There we go.